Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on the region where you're watching us from. I am Jack Hanniel, your prof of creativity and balance, and the Jack's podcast is back, and this time we are not going anywhere. So we are starting with the conversation about leadership. So we're partnering with DTA, Disruptive Thinking Academy, for this one. So we are starting with human-centered leadership. Leadership is something that has been flowing through my blood for a long time. I try to run away from it, but it keeps chasing me everywhere I go. So leadership is something that has been in me, and I had to take the time to start studying, because when you're called into something and you're not well prepared and you're not well equipped, it's also a problem. So I had to start studying about leadership, and I saw certain gaps in how it is expressed in Nigeria, in Africa. I looked at leaders from the US, the UK. I saw how they behave, but then I was being careful because their culture is different. Some of their ideologies and their way of handling things might not really apply to us here.
Yeah.
Because of our culture.
Yeah.
Because of how we are brought up, our ideologies, our belief system. So trying to model something that relates specifically to the African region and then grow from there into the world. So I had to start studying. This is about 5 years studying. I've gone for conferences and all that. So this is me officially telling you people that I'm walking into the leadership space, and you guys will be seeing my face almost every week of your life. So be ready. I am not here to be your friend. I am not here to tell you sweet sounding words. I am here to say the truth, nothing but the truth, so that we all become better as a people, as a community, as Nigeria, as Africans, and as the world at large. So, into the conversation of human-centered leadership. We'll start by allowing Ibelema introducing herself.
You see that question? What do you do? It's a very tough question for me. But my name is Ibelema Green. I like to be called the repairer. Maybe on subsequent episodes we'll delve into that. I am a lawyer by profession. Over a decade post-call. Then I am into policy consulting for the security agencies in Nigeria. But I think the sweet spot of my life would be my work with women, teenagers, multi-potentialites, to live a life by design. So this conversation is a heartbeat of mine. It's around the forte that I play in. And because it has two words that I really like, human and leadership.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that's me.
Okay. So we'll start the conversation.
Okay.
This is not a regular podcast, so there will be a lot of
Injections.
unscripted and some will remove, some will put, but
Some will leave for later.
But
Yes.
So I want to ask a simple question. Why is our emotion important in life?
If I slap you, will you feel it?
Yes.
Why?
I have sensory nerves.
Exactly. Simple answer. That's what emotions are for. Okay. To make you feel. And feelings and emotions make us human. It's the thing that distinguishes us from every other thing that has been created. Okay. We were made with the ability to feel, to process emotions, to sense, discern, and use them. Good or bad. Important. How would you like to come home, long day? Or that's even too far. This conversation, for instance. How do you like that I was talking in monotone, giving you the answers and not picking off from the cues that you give from your emotion? So there's one. So for instance, you cannot call your laptop, hey, this is my mommy. Emotions are necessary for connection.
Okay.
Humans need connection. It is essential in everything that we do. It's the thing that tips and tilts the edge between something that is just cold objective driven and hard to something that is vibrant, alive, has color, creates warmth. So you need emotion. You need it for everything. And then in the conversation that we're having, since we're talking about human-centered leadership, and when you were now talking from the beginning, where you were saying something like there is a way leadership is done in Africa, in Nigeria, as opposed to how it's done everywhere else. Leadership requires emotions. People don't really care what you know if they don't know you care about them. Okay. So when people say things like, "Oh, I don't care what you are thinking," there is a problem.
That's a red banner.
There is a problem. It's not just a flag. It's a banner. It's a big
10 by 40 billboard.
Yeah, it's a problem. So you need emotions to drive connection. Connection with people will drive productivity. Productivity will make your society even better and make it livable for people to be.
That means productivity. Because you said it drives productivity. That means if we're not emotionally connected to people, the result we are looking for, we would not get it.
Completely different.
Okay.
You will get results, but you will not get optimal results. Yes.
So why is optimal result important?
Again, would you rather have half bread or the full loaf?
A full loaf of
the full bread. That's in that bread.
I had to go there as I ate bread.
Jesus
is the bread of life.
But you see that bread.
See Asani bread. Please,
shout out to Rick Asani.
Any
your
person that does Holy Communion, use Rick Asani bread for your Holy Communion.
I will advise against that, because you will leave the communion and start to chop food and be looking for beans to go with it. This is not the conversation.
It's not the conversation.
But you see, bread is important. But if we're talking about bread and leadership, because we're going to now be drawing all the lines and connecting the dots.
Yeah.
See the way we segued into talking about bread and the joy that talking about bread brought.
Yeah.
Imagine that we now transmitted this same emotion, or they were watching it and then they saw how excited we are about something that they created. What would you think would happen to their morale? It goes up.
Yes.
Productivity is better. Input is better. The people who are working now feel like there's something to live for. Emotions drive purpose. You need it. Because immediately you remove emotions, connection, or even the showing or expression of it, what you're going to have is very mechanical. And it's not sustainable.
And mechanical is not human.
It's not human. And when we want to talk about leadership in the sense of the word leadership, you need sustainable impact over time.
Okay.
The reason that we have such bad leadership is because you hear things like, they don't even feel what we are feeling safe. Ask them if they know the price of Gary paint in the market. They don't know. Sure. If people are divorced from how people are feeling, you can't lead effectively.
True.
No, you can't.
That means leadership, no matter what you say, some persons, they like to separate leadership. They say there is servant leadership, there is this one, there is this one. Okay. So that means there is nothing should be tagged leadership if it's outside servant leadership.
So I will beg to differ, because when we need structure.
Okay.
So, and we need frameworks. Okay. So there will be leadership in different frameworks. Okay. But at the root of every type of leadership, in whatever framework, is the fact that you have to have a heart that serves. Now, people will misinterpret servant leadership to be beggarly. That's different. Okay. You know, but we might think that people actually know what servant leadership is. So but you'll be shocked.
I said, let the conversation land.
No, but you'll be shocked, because meaning is important. Okay. So, for example, if I did like this to you, what did I just do?
I mean, I would have raised up my hand.
You will raise up your hand and do it. If I stand from my car somebody drove nothing and I did like this.
It's waka now.
It's
Respect his
waka
father,
in
tell me
Nigeria.
your
If
papa.
we did like this in China,
It doesn't mean
they
anything to the
don't
person. They don't
understand it. Frameworks. Frame works. It's not just the framework, but giving a frame works. When you put a picture in a frame, you have defined the parameters of that picture to the frame that it is. That's why you need frame for these things. Meaning is important. Someone coming from a background that has been beggarly or has been oppressed or needed to stand out because they were overlooked. If you say servant leadership, they are not going to be thinking serve with all my heart. No, they are going to be thinking in the frame that they were designed.
When it comes to leadership, for people, because people will come from all walks of life to meet in organizations or maybe someone training leaders, leaders training leaders. There should be a room for retraining. Retraining meaning you have to first question the person, have a conversation to know
what they
so that you will become what is needed for them. So that means as a leader, we need to know how to have different personalities that fit those we are training.
Or, better said, have the personalities in different expressions to fit the different expressions that come at you. Who I would be as a leader in the space of policy is not the person I would be as a leader in the space of teenagers and children. Who I would be as a leader in a religious setting. It's not the person I will be, or maybe not that it's not the person.
Not necessarily that your personality changes, but the
expression.
How you dish out.
Exactly.
Like,
now
in this particular space,
this is what is required.
The way she talks is a little bit different, but she's very playful.
And all that. But elements of your personality will come out.
Still come out.
Yes, but you now have to fit the frame.
To control and this is what
so that you needed. This is what is needed here.
So,
and it's the same thing when we're talking about human-centered leadership, where it has to fit the frame, but at the bottom, at the root of it, is the word human. What does it mean to be human? You have to understand what it means to be human, not to do human, because we are human beings, not human doings. And people confuse that in the subject of leadership. You forget that this is a person being, constantly evolving, which means that there is room for improvement, for change, optimal development. There is room for all that, but you have to understand how they are, and you have to touch them where they are. Yes.
Okay, now bringing it into the corporate space. A lot of companies work with KPIs.
Yes.
So you have to do this, you have to do this, you must not do this, you must not do this. This episode of the Jax podcast is sponsored by Perspective. Perspective is one of Africa's leading aerial photography brand. They deal in stock images and they also handle progress reports. If you have a project that you're working on and you need a progress documentary showing the various stages of your work, you can reach out to them. The details will be on the screen. Do well to reach out to them, and thank you.
Being human and human-centered leadership in organizational settings is that the people matter. Because based on the relationship that had been offered, your productivity, your loyalty, your sense of wonder, curiosity, and the need to deliver optimally will increase. You were not thrown under the bus.
Yes.
You were not left alone to handle. We don't know these IT people. That's Oversabi is doing them. No, Oversabi for our international audiences that you know too much. So moving on. Oversabi is just doing you. There wasn't anything like that. It was, we're going to protect our own. That's a KPI. That in itself is human-centered KPI. Empathy, connection, defense. Everybody wants to be protected. Everybody wants to be accepted. Everybody wants to be loved. Now, whether we like it or not, the intangibles in everything will drive the tangibles in an organization. When you put a list of don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, and there isn't any human-centered backing, you're going to be having people performing. They're just going to do the job, get paid, and get out.
And they won't be happy to be in the space.
And if they find a space, lesser pay,
better atmosphere,
they're moving. Yeah. So again, emotions will drive sustainability in any organization. That's why you don't have the quick turn. And when you have quick turnovers, outside, they're not looking at it as, oh, your staff is leaving. They're looking at it as there's a leadership problem. Yeah. Why can't you retain your staff? Why are they not staying with you? Why would our money stay with you if you cannot even keep the people there?
Nobody has been with you for more than 5 years.
There is a pattern and a track record, and people don't trust that. They trust longevity. And longevity comes from being human. It's knowing your staff's birthday. We're not saying throw away rules and regulations. No, these are frames that need to work in corporate settings. We're saying beyond that, because we're coming to the point in future, in fact, we're there now, where we have a generation of people who will not work in a space where they are not seen, heard, or understood. And we're gradually getting there as we get into more diverse, highly function AI type tools, right? Where you're going to need humans to drive it. Even AI today, you hear things like human-centered AI.
The reason why the conversation of AI, so I stumbled on something recently on Twitter, and the guy was like, they took an LLM, the system they trained for most of these chatbots, and they fed it with random information from Twitter. Random, stupid, senseless, sensible information. And this AI was now portraying narcissistic traits. So, the information knocked the head of the AI. And the AI was answering, the way it answers the question was not the regular way.
And you honestly think that emotions are not important?
And it is very, very important.
Yes.
There's something I started posting recently, but most persons will not understand my approach. Damn your feelings. Follow the plan. Get the job done. What I mean by that is, your feelings are important, but there are situations where you have to push yourself a little bit further, not until you break down. And sometimes, damn your feelings, getting the job done, is you taking out extra 30 minutes to rest.
So,
damn your feelings, getting the job done. Yes, meaning
you have to
that frame, damn your feelings. Most persons will be like, oh, I'm tired. I don't need to sleep, but I should get on the job. So again,
it's also in training people about the emotions that human beings exhibit. Because we feel like we know the random range of emotions that we come with, you know. So if I tell you to give me all the emotions A to Z,
I don't know all, but then there's certain feelings I've had recently, and I'm like,
what is this? What is this?
Normally, I like knowing what the feeling is,
so that you
where
can
it's coming from,
and then
so I can if it's something I should entertain or adjust from. I haven't seen this before. I haven't felt this before.
What's the color?
What is the color of this boy?
So basically, I think stuff like this that happens when we have to now say things like damn your feelings and get the job done in corporate settings, it would mean that we don't really care how you do what you do, deliver on the job and move on. While that might be great, I have to put it within frame, which is, what is the outcome of damn your feelings? Because most of the time we're staying with the words, and they sound really nice. when you sell an outcome to the person, the expected end, it is easier to damn your feelings and get the job done.
Yeah.
So, there is an expected end, Abby.
Yeah.
The expected end is you do this work well, you get recognized. You get a fantastic performance evaluation review, which will translate into promotion, which means more money, a better quality of life.
Yeah.
But let's circle back. You have to damn the feeling that you can't do this and then resurrect another
it puts it in a frame of the feeling now we want you to kill is the feeling that I do not have the capacity to deliver.
And then resurrect the feeling of resilience, perseverance, dedication, and I can do
curiosity
this. Fantastic. Yes. So the outcome will run the emotion. So when you are focusing on human-centered leadership, you're going to have to know the person, see the person, and then find out what outcomes work for the person. It's very scientific. It's art, it's science, it's an act also. So you're doing all three. You're finding the science, you're finding the art. Because there's an art of telling someone a very scientific based way of doing certain things, which is outcomes drive results. Positive outcomes will drive positive results. Negative outcomes will drive negative results. Positive outcomes comes with positive emotions or the reinforcement of positive emotions. What are the positive emotions that you need for this outcome? But first, you have to tailor make it to the person. Which means you have to know the person. Where are they coming from? What is the environment? Thank you. Who
around
are they?
Work, around leadership, around people, around money,
teamwork.
Teamwork.
You have to find it. So creating a human-centered type thing for corporate organization will mean that you have to go far beyond your recruitment processes of where did you school, what did you do, what grade did you come out with. Those things are
that means the conversation at the various stages of interviews will have to be completely different.
It's a
so that you'll be able to have
thing now.
Certain ideas
exactly
about the person to
so
know.
You cannot put people square pegs in square holes.
You studied mathematics, you're good in calculations, but you fit better in HR because of the personality.
And then it boosts the overall output of the organization. So really, it does the corporation good to focus more on a leadership style that is people-centered.
But in the short term, it looks, if you look at it in the short term,
are you here for short-term benefits or you're here for the long haul?
How many organizations really, they say it, but how many organizations
exactly
really?
But you see, you are expecting an outcome that you are not prepared for, so go back to the drawing board.
So that means most organizations do not really... Okay, let me rephrase. When I'm teaching, I always tell people, especially when I'm teaching branding, I always tell people that there is no business that is separate from the character traits of its leader or leaders.
Very true.
So every business takes the behavior,
the persona
of its leader or group of leaders. Since there is a separation between what organizations say they want and what they do, then that means there's a separation with those who run organizations actually knowing themselves.
Yes. Right on the money.
Okay.
Right on the money. Living by design is understanding this is who I am, this is who I've been created to be, not what was expected or given to me by society or experiences or dysfunction or trauma. And when I'm talking about these things, because I think I forgot to mention, I'm also a licensed therapist. What we call trauma and dysfunction in today's world is pop trauma and dysfunction most of the time. The fact
pop
that
trauma, how explain?
So there's psychology and then there's pop psychology, and it will be, and this is a segue from the regular thing. So quick lesson. That your boss, you people have a deadline, and your boss requires that you people stay beyond 5 o'clock. My sister, that isn't trauma or a toxic work environment.
Exactly.
It's not.
It's not.
It's asking you to go beyond, your specific time frame because there is an expectation to fulfill. Now, saying that, the environment is toxic, so I left it. Why did you leave it? They were expecting me to stay longer. How do you build resilience and capacity if you are not stretched beyond limits? So most of the time, what we call toxic, what we call trauma, that they shouted on you for doing something bad, it's not trauma. Now, people don't shout on me because anytime I did something. What did you do? If you are being stubborn, we should not shout for you. If you have bad character, we should not correct you.
It cost the company 100 million.
So we should not shout at you. No, we should not shout for you. No, we should pat your back.
Your boss shouting at you is a good person.
Because me, I will sack you respectfully or with police, depending on how much I lose. We have taken the frame of what trauma is to mean something totally different. When you meet people who have trauma, you will never say it again. When you see people who are highly dysfunctional, you will not say it again. And maybe it's things that we try, I have OCD because you are arranging things by color. You think people with the condition, OCD, want to do that? Yeah. No, they don't. They don't want. They have an obsessive need to make sure that the place is arranged or they cannot function. You can function. Your cupboard is scattered.
Or people saying they have an attention problem. And I'm like,
what's this new one now that everybody's saying that they have?
ADHD. I'm like, what the hell?
I'm like,
what
if you
I checked what ADHD is. I looked through all these.
If you know the people who actually have these disorders, as a regular person, you will never do that. And we become what we say. We do.
Yes.
So the more you say it, and people have to realize that part of being human is the fact that they have to understand that they are not just body, they are spirit. Yeah. You have what you say continuously over time. I know people go, I want to have $1 million, I want to have $1 million, I want to have $1 million, I want to have $1 million. That's not what we're talking about. You're not going to have $1 million without the work necessary. But you see intangibles. Your words, your DNA responds to your thoughts. They do.
Yes.
It is.
Yes, I agree with that.
It shapes it. You're going to rewire your DNA by the thoughts you constantly think. And you will act like that.
Yeah. I agree. Anthony Robbins, when I started listening to him some years ago, he always says something that if you're depressed, change your posture.
Yeah.
Because it is emotion.
Once you feel sad or something happens, the tendency for you to lower your head is higher.
Or for your facial expression to just drop.
Yeah, so a tilt in direction, motion is motion. A tilt in direction, a tilt in, the way you function, a trying to get up. So it's the reason why if they just tell, even all you do in a day for really serious people, for really serious depressed patients, if all you do in a day is you got up from your bed, you did good. Like the will to stand. Yeah. And this is you walking up and down, trekking around the city of Port Harcourt. Up and down and shouting,
depressed about what? Let's go back to leadership.
Let's go back to human-centered. But human-centered leadership, because everything is connected, is the fact that you need to also understand that people have to be taught. You have to learn, relearn, unlearn, And when somebody goes around saying, this is not to now discard that people who are working, they are highly functioning depressed people.
Yes.
highly functioning.
I agree with
Like
that.
they're doing everything, they're hitting their goals,
And they can be the life of the
They are
person.
and they are depressed. This is also to understand that in human-centered relationship, you need a certain level of empathy. Where are they coming from? What's going on? Because
Are you really okay?
Are
How
you
are
okay?
you? Don't
How
give me the generic
the
answer.
word how are you?
really doing?
People don't seem to understand that when they ask the question how are you, it's not just a cliche thing. So everybody's going, how are you? Oh, I do, I'm good. But really, when you think of the question, how are you? When somebody asks you, how did you do this thing? Don't you give a description? Oh, how did you bring this thing? I carried it from here. How do you do branding? I take note of there is a system to how are you. So when somebody asks you the question,
say fine.
How are you? And you say fine, and everybody moves on, we don't also understand the question, because part of human-centered conversation is that you are paying attention. And attention is money. You pay attention. That's a resource. You have to look and pay particular care to what you are asking, to what you are saying, to who is before you. That's what leadership is. It is the ability to see the people and not just look at them
for who they are,
what they could become,
what they can become, not what you want
not
them
what
to
you
be.
want them to be, and who they have been. It's very important.
Okay, I remember, I don't know if it was in this conversation or before we started recording, we were talking about various layers of leadership. Family, being the foundation.
Yeah, I think it was before the
organizational, personal, and the one that borders around
religion and all.
Morality. And short term against morality, long term.
Morality.
That one will be for another segment, not for this one.
And it will not be me that will say it.
So, let's bring it down to the foundation. So if the foundation of leadership is family, so it's okay to say that the reason why a lot of persons in leadership position have a wrong perception or a wrong approach to how they lead and how they handle things, can we say it's as a result of our failed ability to actually do parenting rightly? To see parenting as leadership?
Yes. I know it's a very big thing to say, but I think a lot of times people don't see parenting as leadership. Rather, they see it as a long-term investment plan.
Is it bad to see it as that?
No. So you see in these things, there are no right or wrong answers. It's more on perspective and perception. Okay. And knowing when to switch between both. Yeah, so this isn't like a blame game and all that. And parenting is hard work. Parenthood, the strongest hood is gangster. Next to parenthood is teenage. Just those who... It's very funny to me that you use things like childhood, parenthood. You don't say youthhood. The hoods.
I always...
Again, meaning of words will make you look at
meaning
again. Let's go back to meaning.
Let's go to the hood. It's always a place where gangsters, they do their things, drug lords.
But in gangsterism is also the space of community and a sense of belonging and a strata of leadership.
So that means frame.
You need to understand the frame of parenting. And parents will not give what they necessarily do not have. Human principle. You cannot give what you don't have.
Someone was like, I was asking someone, she was like, her mom did this, did that. I said, so would you give your children this trauma? She said, never. I didn't ask the question. Have you learned how not to? Because your brain only knows what has been given. Not what you want to give. That you have not learned how to give. So
parents need to heal. There is a need for education. You plan for parenting. So when they're saying that, family planning, again, meaning what family planning in this part of the world is, how many children do you want to have? No, family planning is not just how many children you want to have in terms of number, which is a thing that runs through the society where we're looking at numbers in terms of leadership. No, when you say family planning, what kind of family do you want? The type of family you want would determine, it's based on the type of person first you are. So you cannot even take it away from you first. So there is the personal leadership where you have to learn
That means
yourself.
personal leadership has to come under family leadership.
Then build on it, because it is a person that marries another person that comes together to build a family. So you're having personal ideologies clashing and coming together to form a unit that in social studies says the family is the smallest unit of the society.
That means a family is a community.
A family is a government system. Okay. So the thing I like to ask parents when we do, like, because my bent in therapy is teen therapy, and it's in coaching teenagers and mentoring teenagers. The thing I like to ask parents that if we did an election in your house, will you win? Or will you rig the election?
Look at them that high.
The side eye of behave or kill you.
Press my name there before.
Would you win by virtue of the person that you are? Okay. Will you vote for your mother every time? Will you vote for your father every time? Half the time the answer will be no. And it differs from person to person. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Family planning is not just how many children do you want to born. What kind of children do you want to raise? Who are these children going to be? What kind of, for lack of a better word, brainwashing are you going to give them to world-proof them?
So that they can go through life
seamlessly. So let's even talk about it, because we have frameworks for these things. If you know somebody that came from a government school, how? You know somebody that went to a unity school, how?
Behavior.
You know how someone that goes from this on a private
university,
they won't understand.
You know somebody that went to UST and
somebody that went to UST and Uniport just by characteristics. Yeah. The system in those places, the experiences form the framework. So a Port Harcourt boy in another place by simply saying a boy there. They will just natural, even if they were
trying to be straight up.
They're just going to they're not going to look at you, and there's going to be this smile like and there will be the handshake. Nothing that does not understand that boy.
True.
There's no frame. Your family, when we see your child outside, do we know that they are coming from the Hanniel lineage? What makes them Hanniels? What makes a green a green? That's your family planning. And that is the thing that determines how you set them off in parenting. If you don't even know how you want your children to come outside, why are you complaining when they are coming outside the way they are coming outside? I want my children to be responsible. What does that look like? What is responsibility to you?
What frame do you have to put so that they work?
So responsibility for us in our families, and this is figurative. What is responsible for us is that we are responsible for collecting everything that you have. That's our responsibility. If you see something outside, collect it. Whether it's your own, it's not your own. Don't be the last. Don't be a fool. And we are responsible to that. And we have to come and give account that my height, today, and we applaud that. What if that's responsibility for us? It's different. So you have to know what the frameworks are for the child. But it starts with the parent. The parent does not even see themselves as leaders. They're just family production.
Just marry and born. Poultry. Just born.
we
Yes.
deliver the egg,
Yes.
we grow it, we have to be fat to deliver and
feed
born
them,
another egg, for us at the end of the day when the layer have passed, we pass on to another child. You're not an egg production factory. That's not what you are. You're a parent. And the word parent, again, meaning, break it. If you're paying rent on top somebody's house, don't you pay caution fee?
Pay caution fee.
You will sign agreement.
You
will even call lawyer.
You pay security.
You will do matching ground. If you're in Port Harcourt. Yeah.
Drink money.
You drink money. It depends on the kind of building you even come.
Yes.
You will pay. The agency is different. What's that thing that they used to call to maintain the house?
Maintenance.
Not there's a name for it. If you come to me, you will shall pay all those things depending on the type of house that you are in.
Depending on the environment.
Depending on the environment.
Yeah.
Let me now ask you, what kind of children do you want to raise? Because we can raise bachelor children. No need for framework, cut and join everything. Let's just go together.
Just bond them and just
move. Everybody
send them to school.
We can do self-con. A little structure here and there, but not sustainable for the long run. You can pay rent for a one bed. After a while, it starts to bust at the same. But we're okay if we don't bring many things inside. We're fine. Or a 2-bed, or a high-rise, or an estate.
Yeah.
Depending, you pay rent for your children. You're stewarding human beings.
So before someone goes into parenting, the person must first of all understand himself, develop a framework, and then begin to study to ensure that he has the ability to implement at least 70% of that framework.
And be able to communicate that framework to another person who is coming from a different ideology to come together to form a
marriage before
framework. Because a marriage is now a totally new framework. This is where we are coming from, this is where we are coming from, where are we going? Who is coming out from where we are, and where are they going? How would we position them for where they ought to go themselves? It is work. So I don't blame parents.
I actually will not blame them.
Because when you sit down and look at it in the framework of leadership, thinking
about it from the business angle, getting married is actually should be treated as business.
It's serious business. This is going to be the mother of your child.
Yes.
Where is she coming from? What her ideologies? Is she leading herself in the way she's supposed to go, or she have come out another side? Can she raise the kind of children you think? Does she even have the creativity, the innovation, this foresight for the type of children that you people want to raise? Or it's just, I'm going to have 2 children, I'm going to look at their father. Is that it? Who do they become in the larger world? It is beyond you. And this is what leadership is. Leadership, human-centered leadership, it's not about KPIs. It's not about, performance indicators or evaluations or a set target that we're supposed to meet. It is connection and it is legacy. It is beyond you. It has to go from you to a bigger picture. It has to serve something bigger than you. It cannot be selfish. That is human-centered relationship. So whether it's in a corporation, it's in family, it's in morality, or it's even in yourself, you have to think bigger than you. Because the framework in which we live in, the earth, the world at large, was designed for something bigger than the person that created it. It was for all of us.
Yeah.
So imagine if God was selfish and just build the heavens alone to dwell in.
I don't like stress.
I don't like stress. I can't be stressed. It's a very toxic environment and all that. No. Nature provides a framework of after its kind. Who comes after you?
After its kind. That's
a totally different conversation, but this is
but then I just want to end with this. After its kind, meaning There's something Olakule Shoriyo said in one of his speeches. He said, glass existed from the beginning, but it did not exist as glass.
Yes.
It existed as sand. So our inability to be perfect people, perfect beings, give room for creativity and innovation for the next set
and highest
to be better
level,
for a higher level. So iPhone 17 was in iPhone 1.
Exactly.
But it's in the iteration and building on the imperfection of each that we then got to 17.
So you now see why human-centered leadership is important, because then imperfection is not glorified, but it is accepted as a means for improvement.
So
perfection is really an illusion.
So it moves knowledge, action, results. If results is not what we want, we
reevaluate, go
knowledge,
back.
action, results. So results shouldn't be seen as the final
end
place.
all and be all.
Yeah, so it should be more like a circle.
Fantastic.
A circle of life.
Fantastic.
So I have the knowledge, I understand it, I act, I get results, I review knowledge. So the next person coming after me should just take the result, review it, get more knowledge, like
move
that.
on. We keep going like that.
Well, if you can go 5-10 years back, what would you do differently?
Stick with my design.
Okay.
And this is what I mean. I mean, I would not conform to society's expectations of who they expected me to be.
Okay.
I would live from within.
Okay, so this is the end of the human-centered leadership. So do well to subscribe, click, do whatever, all those plenty. If you like, you subscribe. If you like, you share. That one is your own Port Harcourt boy. So I really do. I care.
Human-centered leadership.
I care. So see you guys on the next one.